And so my intention today is to share with you about the experience we had and to reflect where you are now in this process and what is yours to do. So on Saturday, March 22nd, congregants came together to participate in the first part and to share the principles of co-creation. And there were two main themes: the power of group agreement and to have a new experience, to have a new realization. And so as we began to do the work of the co-creation process, we honor the understanding that we all carry a minister within us. And that this belief comes to us, it's formed out of past experiences, pluses and minuses. And so we tend to outpicture the experience we had before. And often we see a new minister through that filter of our former beliefs. So sometimes we project those beliefs to any minister that comes into our space. And the same experience is created over and over again as long as we have those beliefs. So one of the processes we did was an upgrade process. Just as you would upgrade software on your computer, we did an upgrade of our beliefs. So participants went within to think about the experience that they had or the associations they've had with ministers in the past. And the upgrade process allowed us to come to an up-leveled new idea. We did healing work in the fear to faith process to understand the experience of the past and to bring and what we bring to this present moment. This was a very important healing process, and it established the foundation for the co-creation team that met this past weekend, Friday and Saturday. And I want to acknowledge this co-creation team members: Judy Ailey, Vance Blue, Lynn Bryce, Tom Dinkelman, Maya and Roel Fuller, Barbara Guillory, Chip Henneman, Norma Roberts, Robert Townsend, and John Karn. This was a wonderful group that worked so beautifully together. And they didn't work without you, but they worked on your behalf. They were invited because they represented different segments of your community, and they committed to be present to do the work. And I was so moved by their commitment and their willingness. So what was revealed out of our work together was a sacred covenant. Now, this is not a wish list for a new minister. It's a list of spiritual attributes, which are really about a spiritual vision for your new minister. What's crucial to understand is that we have to realize within us the qualities that we want to have in a new minister. We need to acknowledge and embody in ourselves what we want to bring forth. So this is a powerful and important time in the life of your community to welcome a new minister. And we acknowledge and we praised everyone who has served this community. We praised and prayed for the ministers in the past. And we acknowledge right now every minister, every practitioner, every board member, volunteer, every member that has played a part to bring you individually and collectively to this sacred moment. We're here to welcome newness. And so the sacred covenant is intended to create within you the experience of your new minister that will help call that person to you. That you'll notice in when we read it, that some of the statements are written in the first person as I am statements. And what is really important for you to embrace and embody is that which you wish to attract, right? This is pure science of mind. We have a mental equivalent inside of us in order to attract what is our thought. And this is a very mature spiritual experience. I think often what we want to do is fill out an order form and send it to the universe. Please, Spirit, provide this person just the way we want them to be. It doesn't work that way. What we're actually doing is working on a much deeper level in this process. This is about becoming that which you would like to have in your new minister. Only what we experience on the inside is what we manifest on the outside. We say the truth known is demonstrated. So the covenant that we are about to read together declares how you see your experience of a new minister unfolding in time and space. In other words, how Spirit is going to move through you to call into the space the new minister who will love you and serve you and support you and your divine unfoldment. So the sacred covenant is going to be on the screen in a moment. And yeah, thank you, Diego. And I invite you to read aloud with me. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express Spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of Spirit as principle. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law, and it is always available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my minister revealed before me as inspiring spiritual oneness through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspired to live as love in the expression of principle. I am awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I am offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and empowered living. I am extending the love, compassion, and transformative power of Spirit into the wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express Spirit and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful, God is gracious, and so it is. You have just spoken your new minister into being. You are formally, as a part of this ministry, this center, you are formally in a time of change. You have been in a time of change, but now it's kicked up a notch. And so I have 3 invitations for you. The first is come into agreement with each other around this sacred covenant that you just read. Sacred means holy and covenant means agreement. Allow yourself to align with the words that were spoken here. let your heart say yes. You will very soon be able to go to the website and download a copy of the covenant for yourself. I invite you to print out a copy, and there will be a space for you to fill in 2 of your own personal intentions. Write them as I am affirmations. It's done in that form because it's important for each of us to affirm that which we wish to experience. The covenant reads as an I am statement so that you can begin to embody the statements. This is not about ordering a minister up who will do everything that you want them to do. This is about co-creating a new experience. This is a very different experience than most people expect it to be. It's very deep and spiritually based. Every moment of this process was surrendered to Spirit for the highest and greatest good. So you are invited to come into agreement and read this agreement, read this covenant every day. Post it somewhere where you can see it. Say yes. And as the group speaks it in group mind, that is when things begin to happen. So, it's very easy during this time of change for people to pull in different directions. This is a great opportunity to stand in a greater good that you are accepting. So my second invitation is to honor the mystery of this process. You are not where you were, and you are not where you're going. This is not how it was, and it isn't yet how it's going to be. Dr. Reverend Kathy Hearn calls this being firmly planted in midair. It's a little bit like a free float, yet the firmness of faith is under you. So you are standing in deep faith. You are in a process that leads to the revelation of your new minister. And you don't know who it is yet. You don't know how it's going to unfold. But in the reading of this covenant, there is an energy and a message and a vibration that is going out. And somewhere, a minister is receiving this inspiration. They're receiving a message that it is time for change. It's time to step into something new. This is a mysterious and mystical process. It's all about oneness, and it goes across time and space. You will be calling in your new minister who is the right one for you. And all there is to do is to float with the mystery of the moment. Enjoy the feeling. Take one step at a time. That's what you can do, is take the step that you are on. Our human personality wants to see what's next, but we can only take the step we're on. We can only take one step at a time. And the sacred covenant is the guide. And every time you read it, your heart says yes. Add your own intentions so that it's personalized for you. That will attract the most perfect minister to come into your experience. I invite you to embrace the words of our beloved teacher, Emma Curtis Hopkins. There is good for me, and I ought to have it. And let's expand that idea and know there is good for us, and we ought to have it. So say that where you are. There is good for us, and we ought to have it. Again, there is good for us, and we ought to have it. One more time. There is good for us, and we ought to have it. Come into agreement and honor the mystery. And so the third invitation is to embrace the change. So here's the thing. We are very clever beings. We have very interesting ways to resist change, right? And that we resist the change. We know it's going to happen anyhow, but we resist it. And I realized several years ago that I love change, but I don't want anything to be any different. Just let's just hold steady here, but I want this newness, right? So we feel change as a concept rather than reality sometimes. But we all know everything is always in a state of change. We're all energy, we're always in a state of change. And it's important to let that in. It's important to open our hearts and our minds to newness and let change happen. See yourself and experience yourself as an open place of receiving newness, right in your heart. An open place of receiving a greater good of a new minister, coming across time and space into to be here to love and to serve you. So for me, what that brings up is the contemplation of what kind of mind do we bring to change? What kind of mind, what kind of thinking do we bring to change? And there's two stories that come to mind. And one is, you've heard it before, it's the parable of the sower from the Gospel of Matthew. And so as the story goes, the sower went out to sow seeds. And some fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. And some fell on stony ground and shallow earth, and the plants sprang up, and the sun scorched them. Some had no roots, so they withered. And some fell on thorns, and the thorns grew and choked the plants, and there was no fruit. But some seeds fell on good ground, and the plants grew, and fruit increased 30, 60, and 100-fold. This is a teaching, it's a parable about us and our minds. What kind of mind do we bring to change? So the wayside mind is hard and resistant. It's impenetrable, and it's stuck in the past and doesn't allow anything new to take root. The stony soil is a mind that has a little bit of spiritual awareness, a little bit of soil for the rooting of the plant, but no spiritual practice, nothing to deepen the growth. The plants sprout up, but they wither and die from the heat of the sun or the heat of life. The thorny ground has deep, right soil, but it's the kind of ground that is filled with negativity and criticism that chokes off anything new that wants to sprout. Can you relate to that? That we have an idea, but we often choke it out with our criticism. Then there is the good, deep, rich soil, which is the mind that is open, creative, flexible, and allows newness to take root and to grow. So the question for each one of us in any kind of change is, what kind of mind are we willing to bring to change? We reach for our good, but sometimes we have qualities that stop us. So you have the power to choose what kind of mind, what kind of awareness, what kind of attitude you are willing to bring to change, whatever change you're going through. So the second story about change is a Zen story from the East. So the student came to visit the famous Zen master, And the master began to prepare tea for them. So they sat at the tea table, and the master was boiling the water and getting the cups ready. And the student began to talk and talk and talk and talk. All the while, the master patiently continued to prepare the tea. And once the tea was ready, the student was still talking, and the master began to pour the tea into very small teacups. And he continued to pour as the tea reached the top of the cup and now was overflowing. The student never stopped talking, but his eyes got bigger as he watched the tea flow over the cups. The student suddenly jumped out of his chair and he said, "What are you doing? The cup is full." And the master said, "How do you expect me to teach you anything? Your mind is already filled with what you think you know." Two stories from two different traditions, but they're really about the same thing. How open are we? How open are we, are our minds and our hearts for this change that wants to happen? Newness wants to take root here. This is a deeply loving and caring community with a huge sense of compassion and appreciation for each other. You have a commitment to live a spiritually based life. Now, with your sacred covenant, you have a roadmap to having open, fertile soil, and also the ability to empty your cup. Be open and receptive to all that Spirit has to offer. So, Centers for Spiritual Living Home Office will be guiding the board on the next steps. There are many more steps and decisions and plans to be made as this process moves forward. Eventually, all the information will be published on the CSL website, and this is where ministers go to look for open pulpits. Your sacred covenant will be there along with all the other information, and ministers will begin to apply. Home office will send candidates that are interested and that meet your requirements. But as I said earlier, there's many more steps before that even happens. The last center I was in, it took about 6 months for it to even get on the website. So be patient, do your own work, have an open and a fertile mind. Your board will keep you apprised of their steps. And your new minister will arrive in the perfect right time. Trust the process. If you feel anxious, please do your own work. Call your practitioner. Have them say a prayer with you. Ask for support. This is your opportunity to trust the process, to trust your leadership. You have an amazing board and a powerful group of practitioners. Trust the process, trust Spirit. Ernest Holmes says, "The highest attitude of mind from which all else springs is one of perfect calm and absolute trust in Spirit." So in the meantime, read the Sacred Covenant on a daily basis. And every time you read it, let your heart say yes. You will be deepening in consciousness to call in a person who is in alignment with the things that are stated there. And the opportunities are quite wonderful. Prepare your mind and open your heart and do the consciousness work. Keep your eyes on the good you have claimed. There is good for you, and you ought to have it. There is good for me, and I ought to have it. There is good for us, and we ought to have it. So let's bring this together in prayer. There's only one life. That life is good. That life is God. That life is the life in each one of us. And that life is the life of CSL Midtown. So what I know and accept across time and space is that the message is going out right now, that by the reading of this covenant, there is a light and an energy, and ministers are getting the inspiration. The right and perfect minister is already known in the mind of God, is already prepared, and they are getting the message that they are ready to move. They are ready to come forward. And so I know each member of this beloved community has been opened up to something magnificent that is taking place within their hearts and their minds and their souls. This is a process meditated by Spirit for the highest and greatest good. I accept for each one here a profound trust that Spirit is in action. We bless the past. We give thanks for it. We give thanks for all the experiences that have brought us forward. And what we are right now is in good soil with receptive minds, and we have sowed the seed of newness. So I simply give thanks for this recognition, seeing that this is already done for the highest and greatest good. There is great celebration as the way is prepared, as each of us deepens in our own work. We deepen in that awareness of faith, in that awareness of trust, in that awareness of love, in that awareness of principle. And we know this is revealed in its right and perfect time. So I give thanks with a grateful heart, with deep gratitude for all that is revealed, knowing the good that is here for each one of us. I release this word in gratitude and in love, and together we affirm, and so it is. Blessings and thank you.